what's next, Sunday school lady?
That brings us to the 8th book of the Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. Ruth is a tiny little book that's easy to read. It tells just one story, the story of a woman named Gladys. I'm kidding. Her name is Ruth.
The story of Ruth is the great romance story of the Bible.
Ew, is there kissing?
They don't mention any kissing, but it's a great, great story.
A great, great story needs a great, great storyteller. Who could we get?
All right, I will tell the story of Ruth.
Oh no, not you!
Yes, me, Chester Wiggett, master of the popsicle stick puppet. And now, the story of Ruth. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Ruth. She wasn't an Israelite. She was from Moab, a country Israel didn't like very much. But Ruth, she married an Israelite. As our story begins, Ruth, her Israelite husband, and her husband's mother were all living in Moab because there was a famine in Israel.
A famine? You mean no food?
Right, no food. So there they are in the Moab when, oh no, Ruth's husband dies. I don't know what happened. Maybe he got hit by a bus.
I don't think they had buses back then.
Okay, maybe he got hit by a cow.
Chester.
A goat?
Chester.
An ill-tempered iguana?
Chester.
Anyway, he's dead. He's gone. No more husband. Now, Ruth's mother-in-law, her name is Naomi. She doesn't have a husband either. He died a while back. Probably another iguana.
Chester!
Or something. Naomi doesn't really belong in the Moab. She's an Israelite. So as soon as the famine ends, she decides to go back to Israel. Of course, she is old and has no husband and no money. So she'll have to beg for food. Her life will be sad. Well, guess what? Ruth doesn't want that to happen. She loves Naomi. So even though Moab is her home, Ruth says to Naomi, I will come with you. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Isn't it beautiful? I'm telling you, that part makes me cry every time.
Yeah, that's really something.
It gets you right in the gut. Anyway, this amazing Ruth, she leaves her home and goes to Israel with Naomi to take care of her. Every day she follows the workers in the fields to pick up little bits of grain to share with Naomi. Oh, I'm losing it, but get this. This is the best part. So she's picking up bits of grain in a field that belongs to a wealthy man named Boaz, who happens to be related to Naomi's old husband, the one that died in the iguana accident.
I don't think he was killed by an iguana.
Whatever. Anyway, Boaz sees Ruth in the field and hears about what she's done for Naomi. He hears about her great love for her mother-in-law. And get this, he falls in love with Ruth. Wonderful Ruth. And Ruth and Boaz end up getting married. And Boaz takes care of Ruth and takes care of Naomi, her mother-in-law. And everyone is happy and they burst into song. Ever since I saw you, I knew that I loved you and will be together, always and forever.
Chester?
Always, always.
Chester, I don't think they burst into song. The Book of Ruth is not a musical.
Well, it should be.
So what's the point?
What you mean, what's the point?
Why is the Book of Ruth in the Bible? It's a nice story, but what's it have to do with God's rescue plan?
Oh, right. Good question. I don't know. Sunday school lady?
We can learn lots from the book of Ruth. Here are 2 big reasons it's in the Bible. First of all, as an example of redemption.
Redemption? You mean to save someone by paying their debt?
Exactly. Remember the boy and the green sea turtle? Ruth and Naomi were in a terrible state, poor and homeless. Boaz wanted to help them, but to do that, he had to buy the land that used to belong to Naomi and her husband. Once he bought that land, or redeemed it, he could then marry Ruth and take care of Naomi. Boaz was their redeemer.
Just like Ruth, we owe a debt because of our sin, because of turning away from God. The story of Ruth gives us hope that someone can pay our debt too, that we can be redeemed, just like Ruth.
Oh, I get it. It's an example. So what's the other reason Ruth is in the Bible?
The book of Judges told us that Israel needs a king, a godly king that will follow God's laws. The big question is, where will they find such a king? Is there a godly family that can produce a godly king? Well, watch this. Ruth and Boaz did get married, and they have a son named Obed. Obed has a son named Jesse, and Jesse has a son named David.
And
David is that king, the godly king Israel's been waiting for.
Oh!
so the book of Ruth tells us the story of the beginning of the godly family that would give Israel its godly king.
That's why it's in the Bible.
And later on, we'll learn that from the family of Ruth and Boaz, through King David, will come a Redeemer who will pay the debt for all of us, just like Boaz paid the debt for Ruth and Naomi.
What an amazing little book!
I can see why it's in the Bible.
So those are the books of Judges and Ruth. Anyone want to wrap this up with a song? Captain Pete? Where's Captain Pete?
There's a balloon in my beans.
Sorry, a little busy.
Anyone else?
I got it. We learned about Judges, we learned about Ruth, and nasty stuff Israel did in her youth. These books in the Bible, they teach us the truth, that God is the one we should follow. In Judges we saw how they followed themselves, ignoring the law Moses put on their shelves. And deep into misery our story delves, a lesson in who we should follow. The horrors of Judges, they show us the thing that Israel needs is a good godly king. And Ruth is a tiny book you can read fast that points to the king that is coming at last. Redemption, I'll shout it with all of my breath. A king who can save us from sin and from death. The seeds have been planted, we know it's the truth. Way back in the Bible with Boaz and Ruth.
There is a Redeemer. Just like Boaz rescued Ruth and Naomi, there is a Redeemer who can save us all from sin and death. That's the great news of the rest of the Bible, and I can't wait to share it with you. When you think about the book of Judges, thank God for the people He's brought into your life to help you learn what's right. Your pastor, your teachers, but most of all, your parents. We don't have to make the same mistakes the Israelites made, and we don't have to end up in misery. God has given us His Word, the Bible, and He's given us people to help us learn it. Pretty cool, huh?